Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and we're joined once again by Mark Gonzales over at First National Bullion, and we are dealing with a lot of double-sided talk here. A lot of people are saying the economy has never been greater on the right, and people on the left are saying it's never been worse. And then during the Biden years, people on the left said it's never been better, and people on the right said it's never been worse. And in both ways, we've seen serious signs of an imminent collapse. Now, this has nothing to do with who is in power at the time. It's something that was inevitable, and it has been inevitable for a long time since the inception of fiat currencies. As we see the Federal Reserve lower interest rates a quarter point, and this is happening as the Fed and the U.S. government and Trump and his administration say the economy is doing amazing. Why would you lower interest rates if the economy was doing so well? All the same, we see other signs of these obvious conflicts here. 42 million Americans are relying on SNAP benefits. 42 million Americans. So more than 10% of all Americans are on SNAP benefits. And we see runs on grocery stores right now as people steal, trying to get whatever food they can get. Again, I believe this is a manufactured collapse of the supply chain to shift into a technocratic policy, but that's a story for another day. Maybe we'll touch on that later. Meanwhile, we also have an amazing amount of financial experts saying that they've never been so sure of an imminent financial crisis. And one of the first industries to see a recession coming is the freight industry, and freight data shows a massive dip in overall logistical shipments, which is a major issue going forward. It's another telltale sign. So we're going to go into this and more today, my friends. Before we do, I urge people to check those links below for real world solutions. firstnationalbullion.com/schedule-consult/ it has to be that exact address. It is in the description. It's a way for you to avoid the digital IDs to come, for you to avoid the CBDCs to come, for you to avoid the economic calamity that we're witnessing in a slower scale, but it will continue to grow more and more rapidly as we go. And it allows you to go and buy physical gold, silver, platinum, or palladium. Hold that gold in your hand, put it in a vault, put it in an IRA outside of the traditional IRA system. This is your opportunity to go and work with Mark Gonzales. And there you will get a free consultation with him and a complimentary investors package. Just let him know in the comments of the forum that he found him at World Alternative Media, or WAM, WAM. Again, this is your opportunity to get prepared, because honestly, what we're seeing, Mark, here, it doesn't look good for the future of the U.S. economy or any economy worldwide, because we're seeing a global collapse, and it was always bound to happen, wasn't it? So what do you think of the Fed lowering interest rates? And of course, the fact that on top of all this, they say the economy is so good, 42 million Americans are on SNAP benefits. What do you think?
Well, a couple of things. The Fed's lowering interest rates, even though the economy is assumingly well with earnings, because they got to keep the engine going. The only reason that the economy appears well on the surface is because of the debt bubble that's been created over the last 5 years to give the illusion of prosperity, but it's really not. So they got to keep that going. Reference back to a video 3 months ago where the Treasury started issuing 4-week Treasury bills as a stopgap. So we entered a point of devaluation or near no valuation, to where the composition of value is deteriorated, and now we're hitting negative. So the Fed's going to keep that going, and they're going to have to keep it going for a little bit longer, because again, I've said before, everybody has to get on the right side of the trade before they let this fall. And you're starting to see kind of like all storm surges collide. I don't think it's very much longer before everything is just not funded and we have a massive collapse. But you can see the warning signs. First of all, talking about the trucking, they're just not rolling like they used to. And now you've got the resurgence or mass surgence of AI. That's going to replace a lot of jobs. If these people can't pay their bills, and that goes towards repossessions and foreclosures. One step further, in the video for another day, the banking industry, as we learned here recently, the capitalization at risk at the bankruptcy is about twice that of global GDP. It's about $230 trillion. And you're starting to see fractures in the subprime auto lending market. May not see much at, 4 trillion, 5 trillion, 20 trillion, but keep in mind, nothing changed since '08. They came out with legislation to try to reform debt bubbles from happening again. But all they did was just converted the legalization of theft of bail-ins. But you have these packages of debt that are just tranched up, and then they're sold off and they're tranched up again. So you have so many layers with one asset, and it's all intertwined. And we're going into massive layoffs. People can't even, afford their food, 10% on SNAP benefits, and that's going to grow. So even if you think you're safe and you're not on SNAP benefits, or you think that, the warning signs we've been telling you about for a long time aren't going to affect you. What happens when we have another derivative mess, but to the tune of about $230 trillion,
Exactly.
massively above what mortgage was? There goes your savings. There goes your 401k. There goes your pension. All these things are gone. And we get closer to that digital structure of a universal basic income. Keep in mind, that's the plan, because can they afford it? Yeah, they can just digitize and create whatever they want. But in order to be a part of that system, then yeah, you got to surrender to the tyrant.
Well, Mark, what's so frustrating to me is that, I've been talking about the inevitable financial calamity for a long time. And people say, well, why you've been talking about this for so long? Well, it was always bound to happen. All fiat currencies eventually revert to their true value zero, always have, always will, going back to 1024 AD in China. So now we're seeing things speed up at a massive scale that we have not seen before in history. And people will say, oh, well, this is fear mongering. And it's so frustrating to me because, Mark, I mean, this is about a real world situation that people keep ignoring, and people keep saying, okay, just keep saying the sky is falling, when we have real world consequences. 42 million people on SNAP benefits tells me that people cannot afford food. And that's just the people that are put to the point where they have to get these benefits, not to mention all the Americans that are barely scraping by with food. It's insane that anyone, whenever I go into the United States or Canada, I'm like, I live in Mexico now. I don't know how people could survive on a regular basis on a regular income. And of course, it's not about, hey, the wages need to go up. It's because inflation is pushing it up so much. No matter how much you raise the wages, you're still going to end up making less, despite the number being larger. And of course, people are going to starve. And then they come in, exactly as you mentioned, with that digital infrastructure. That digital system is exactly the solution, quote unquote, not a good one, but their solution for the chaos they created in the first place. So, hey, you can't get food. Don't worry about it. We'll give you rations. Just give us, and we'll give you a social credit score on a digital ID on your CBDC. There's no escape from it. You will own nothing and you will be happy. And this is how they do it, Mark. This is how they do it. So, I mean, it's so dangerous going forward, what people are walking into and what people are sitting on their hands regarding, because they keep saying, oh, well, it's just Chicken Little, skies falling. Imagine if you told people the way the world was right now, 10 years ago, when they were also saying, oh, Chicken Little, the sky's falling to me, they would be shocked at how different it is. But we've been normalized to it. So people just keep going along to get along. Mark, what do people need to do in the face of this growing digital system? Because the idea that we just keep hearing people say everything's fine, the economy's fine, it's clearly catching up to us. And of course, there are real world solutions.
Well, the first thing is you need to understand, which most of your listeners do, but really have that, that moment of clarity where you realize that the system is rigged entirely against you. So there's a lot of people that I still talk to that are very aware, very knowledgeable, know about the digital systems. They can see the inner workings coming around them. But when I have these conversations to them, they still have that mentality of dollar significance. They look at gold and silver, and that's the first thing you need to start protecting yourself with. Make sure your family's fed, make sure you're not overextending yourself. But yeah, start getting some gold and silver the best you can, because it's actual true money. It's the honest money of the world. Everything's the accounting measure of it. And when you're still thinking in the validity of that accounting measure, it's kind of hard to recognize the purpose of the money itself. I get a lot of comments from people talking about, like, what type of return, percentage gain. We're not looking percentage gain. We're looking protection. There's a massive, massive difference between, nominally increasing your portfolio or your wealth from 100,000 to 200,000 through the increase of gold and silver. You need to look at it on the opposite of the actual destruction of the dollar. And the warning signs are there. So it's not fear mongering. It's just been a discussion for a long time. And I also hear comments from people I work with that I've been working with for a long time. There's individuals that I've been involved with for 2 decades plus, and they're kind of surprised, and so am I. It's not that I'm a genius. I just follow the clues, and I have common sense. I can differentiate the actual money from the accounting of it, and I can see clearly. I would encourage everybody to do that. That's the biggest limitation that I see is that mental restructuring of everything we've been taught. And until you're able to do that, it's really hard to see clearly, because you still have faith in the system, thinking that $250,000 401k, when it collapses, is going to come back. Guys, it's not. It's going to be rewritten in a digital structure, and the intent is to make you broke. Why do you think there's benchmarks on how low you have to be on the totem pole to get these SNAP benefits? I mean, they're raising them because of inflation, but most people are just above that. So it's not like they don't want help or don't need help. They just can't get it. So the intent is for you to be poor and dependent.
Mm-hmm. Well, right? and Mark, I mean, it was just recently that we went over the fact that studies have shown 75% of Americans polled say they are just scraping by check to check or completely unable to pay for things. In that group, 75%, what even is a middle class anymore if 75% of people consider themselves in poverty? I mean, this is not something that we would have seen in the 1950s. Even in the recession in the 1970s, this is not something we would have seen with all the lack of employment and the gas crisis and everything else. This is not something we've seen even in 2008 and 2009, as far as 75% of people saying they're in poverty. Absolutely not. And now, of course, the recession never ended. It was just papered over. But nonetheless, here we are. And 75% of people are saying they're in poverty. And we're just sitting here and like people are going, well, it's still fine. It's a golden age for the economy. It's a new renaissance for the economy. It's like, what are people thinking? This is the opportunity. If you still have anything, because if you are wealthy right now, which I mean, good for you. And I have a lot of respect for those who've worked hard and been able to build that up. I would say, look at what's happening to those that are impoverished and the massive amount of people that are impoverished, and realize it's coming for you too. The value of your currency will be worth much less, if not dramatically less, not that long from now. And with that, your quality of life is going to go down. And with that, why are you keeping this devaluing currency and always having to downsize in your life after years of working hard? And of course, the replacement system, the CBDC and digital ID system, which will force you into a food ration-based system. No matter how wealthy you are, unless you are stocked up on food and you have money outside of the bank, you are going to be stuck in that system. So, Mark, again, it's so important. Obviously, people go and work with you, and I hope more people go and check that link in the description and contact Mark. This is an opportunity. It's wealth insurance. It's not investment. As we close this off, Mark, is there anything else you want to point out here?
I mean, I've said it before, and I don't want to seem like the broken record, but just grow eyes in the back of your head. See things for what they are. Take the responsibility to be your own hero of the story, and above all, take action. Mm-hmm. Right? Do what you can while you still have the ability of time, because look around how quickly things are changing. And we'll do
or as your hat says, Mark, think while it's still legal.
Yeah, a friend of mine made these. It's pretty awesome. But take the ability of what you have in front of you while you still have it. I mean, we'll do a video on this with a little deep dive, but just the banking system in the U.S. has a market capitalization or exposure due to derivatives derived of something of twice that of the global GDP. Mm-hmm. And you're already seeing cracks. And nothing has changed since 2008. It's just a bigger behemoth. And when it's stopped funded, they're going to let it fall. And keep in mind, in the Great Depression, rates were at zero, but no one was lent any money other than the banking buddies. Yeah. So you can see the same playbook playing out. Dissolve your relationship mentally with the dollar. Start thinking of things differently. Rewire your brain. It's a little difficult thing to do because most people are in their, I'm in my 50s now, and it takes a while to undo what you've been taught with the brainwashing. But give me a call. I'll walk you through it.
Absolutely. Hey, if they are lowering interest rates, they know there's something ahead. I always consider the idea of like after the recession, before the recession in 2008, we saw interest rates go up and up and up and up, similar to what we saw in the 80s as well. And then, of course, they pulled it out. They drained the bathtub, if you will, and lowered interest rates dramatically to try and make up for a calamity to come. Of course, we saw negative interest rates around 2020 as well, which is absolutely insane. We're seeing obviously a shift away from the banking system as well. We see runs on banks in many different parts of the world. We see bank closures, bank branch closures, people going digital. Again, another sign of the times. People running on stores to get food because of SNAP benefits running out with the government shutdown. And on top of that, we have, of course, shock to the supply chain and if we haven't already mentioned it already, silver, we're seeing a shortage of silver right now in a lot of places. So another reason to go and get on this today. We will continue to see shortages as people run to it last second. That's why it's better to actually go and do these things before everyone's running on this stuff. And of course, banks are not going to insure your wealth when they go collapsing, as they will. And we did a video recently on why and when and how and all that kind of stuff that you could check out on our channel. But as always, my friends, again, very important. Check that link in the description. firstnationalbullion.com/schedule-consult/ there you can buy physical gold, silver, platinum, or palladium, hold it in your hands, put it in a vault, or put it in an IRA outside of the traditional IRA system. Schedule an appointment for a free consultation with Mark Gonzales, and you'll get a complimentary investors package as well. Just let him know in the comments of the forum that he found him at World Alternative Media, or WAM, WAM. Very important, my friends. Get on this today, insure your wealth, and make sure to go to the exact link, not a shortened version of the link. Make sure you go to the exact link in the description. And we all look forward to hearing from you. And we appreciate you guys taking this kind of stuff seriously, because this is not the time to be sitting on your hands. It's not about fear. It's about having positive solutions to these issues, so we're not left behind and dependent on the so-called solutions of the behemoth that we call the state, that of course will only want to control us more utilizing those solutions. So we need our own. We need to be independent. We need to withdraw from their system as much as possible. And this is your time to do it. So as always, Mark, I appreciate you joining us and giving us your insights on these issues. And I appreciate everyone watching. Make sure to hit that like button, share on social media, hit the notification bell, and hit subscribe if you have not yet already. And until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson with Mark Gonzales signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.